how's it going, everybody? This is Tex. I hope you've had a great week. This week's question came up about the idea that of starting arguments. Someone that had asked me, why does it seem like I tend to pick or start arguments with my partner? Okay, and it's actually more common than you realize. So if you have ever caught yourself doing it, and if you have borderline personality disorder, or you know someone who has it, and you see this event happen where everything will be going okay, and an individual may just sort of seem like they're pushing the other person into an argument. There could be a lot of reasons for that. Now, this includes explaining a lot of parts of the criteria for the diagnosis and what happens when someone has the diagnosis, what they're more likely to be doing. And this will help you understand why, even though it sounds irrational on the outside, it's actually a irrational but rational response to the situation. So let's wrap all this up in a nutshell. One of the things that I would like to explain that's part of this is repetition compulsion. Another part is impulsivity, a tendency for anger, rage, irritability, and also fear of abandonment. So if you stack all these up and you mix them in a cocktail shaker, this is what you may be getting out of it. So first, repetition compulsion. Now, this hasn't got to do strictly with people with borderline personality disorder. This is just a concept. It's Freudian in nature. It started as the idea that there is an action from your past that you did something and the outcome didn't come out good. And now you're seeking to master that situation. So how do you master that situation? It could be something as simple as, you picked a fight and you got whooped. I don't know how else to put it. You just got whooped. You didn't come out good on the other end of the fight. Now, you'd think anybody with some good old fashioned common horse sense and a little rational thinking would think, I'm not going to pick that fight again. I'm not going to, especially with that person or somebody bigger than that person. I don't want to get whooped. That's painful. You will find that this person will go back and keep making the situation happen in order to prove that they can master it and get past it, that they can actually control the outcome, that they can be in control of what happens. So in the case of some people, they will go to a bar or someplace and they will get drunk, and then bad things will happen. They'll get robbed or lose their money or get assaulted, or, just let your imagine go with that, when there are a lot of bad things that could happen to someone who is drinking and doesn't have control of their environment and are not aware of what's going on. And you would think that one time would be enough for that person to go, oh no, I don't like this. I'm not doing this again. This is painful. I have met people that have went back to the same bar over and over and over and did the same thing over and over. And you're like, how many times do you have to go in there and get yourself in that situation and have the same bad thing happen to you before you realize you should quit doing this? Somewhere internally, they're trying to master the situation and prove that they can handle it. Now, that's one little part. Next little part, impulsivity. If you have it, you know it, because you do stuff and immediately after you do it, you're like, oh shit. And it happens all the time. It can be part of another diagnosis of ADHD. Some people don't have ADHD, but they're still impulsive. They see and they do, and there's no thought in between the two. Then there's the other part of rage and anger. So sometimes some people just tend to have very short fuses. They get very angry very quick. Now, here's an interesting concept. Anger is an extremely high emotion. Rage is at the top. Love can be a very high emotion. So can sexual energy. So can all kinds of other emotions can really push your adrenaline glands to open up. They can make those dopamine pops. They can make those things happen. So sometimes when people are uncertain, but they're missing something, they're bored, it's monotonous, or it's quiet, peaceful. You would think, yay, quiet and peaceful. not for some people. They will push a situation up into high emotion because with high emotion, they burn off of that. They feed off of that high emotion. Then the case of the fears of abandonment. So I've talked about it before. Sometimes you will have people that will get up, and if there is a fear that you're going to leave them, they would rather pick a fight with you and make you leave so they can say, see, I told you, I knew you was going to leave me. I knew that was going to happen. And there's a tremendous amount of pressure relief in that instant that they go, I was right. It did happen. You did do that. Now it's followed immediately by guilt, sadness, maybe even shame, frustration. And again, it's another emotional pop. And then that person feels tremendously sorry for what they've done. While you're in the process, though, you're letting the subconscious take over. The back of your mind is kicking in, and the back of your mind is going, it's kind of like when you're around the house and you're sitting there and you're bored and you get up and you start looking for something to do. Or, for some people, they get up and they start hitting that channel changer. They pick up that phone and they start popping people, hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? Because they don't want to sit in the boredom. They don't want to sit in the peace and quiet. They're looking for something to liven it up. And sometimes for some people, that's an argument. For some people, they do not get physically charged and emotionally charged until they push into that argument. It's very difficult for them to realize that they can get that. I mean, it's like, why do people ride roller coasters? That as you're falling down the roller coaster is actually a high for some people, and it feels really, really good, even though it's really, really scary. So it's easy for you to understand how there's two different things going on at the same time, and they're very close. And for someone who has a tendency to go into rage, that rage is a high emotional thing. And also, if you think back to babies, if you see a baby that's getting overstimulated, too much going on, too much noise, too much heat or cold, the material, the cloth they're wearing, everything is just it's sensory overload. And when you have that kind of sensory overload, then if as a baby, you cry. And after you go in this massive crying thing, then that cathartic release happens and you just settle down and relax and you actually are able to feel calm. You're not able to get to calm until you pop the top and cry. Some people are the same way. They realize that they can't, in their mind, at least think that they can get to calm unless they go all the way to the top and then they can go and come back down. So see, there's not one perfect answer. You have to really pick through the person that you're talking to and go, what happened then? What happened then? See, this is where being able to do what they call a behavioral functional analysis. In other words, what happened the moment you said that thing that you knew was going to start an argument? Okay, now let's move back from that. Right before you said that, what was going on in your mind? What was going on in your behaviors? What was going on in your emotions? And right before that, and right before that, and right before that. Because you need to be able to analyze up to that moment what brought you to say that. Because even though it is impulsive, even an impulsive action, if broken down into milliseconds, there are things happening that bring you to that point. Great. We know all these things that it may be because I'm impulsive. It may be because I have a fear of abandonment that I push that other person into an argument so that they say they're going to leave me so I can feel like I'm right and knew they was going to do it anyway. Maybe I'm trying to overcome a past failure and I'm repeating this action over and over again, trying to master it, whatever. Yeah, all those are great. What do I do about it to stop it? Now that you understand what's going on, you have to understand what's going on in you. And that means going back to mindfulness. The mindfulness is there to help you start to pay attention to things as they happen. If you are working on mindfulness, then during the day, every time you do something, you should be able to just stop dead in your tracks and think, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? What is my body feeling? What is my thoughts? What is my emotions? Even something as simple as you realize you're thirsty. Okay, freeze. What does that mean when you say you're thirsty? Are you swallowing? See, a lot of times when people are thirsty, they close their mouth and they swallow. They think about water or something cool to drink. They immediately then start thinking about problem solving. Where's it at? Is it in the refrigerator? Do I need to go to the water tap? Do I have water fountain here? What do I do to get the water or whatever else it is that I want? And then thinking about, okay, how am I going to go about doing this? I'm going to go over there. I'm going to get a glass. Where's my glass? And thinking it all through and then doing it before you actually do it. No judgments. Don't get mad at yourself. Don't get upset. Don't say what you should do. Just what it is that you are feeling, what it is you are thinking, what it is you are doing, and what do you plan to do about it? And then you can commit to an action. People go, oh my God, that's so painful. Yeah, so is breaking up with someone that you really care about. So pay me now, pay me later. Life is a credit card. If you're going to charge up all these things and not do anything you need to do to stop the problem, then don't complain later on when the bill comes due and there's your problem with interest. So take the time now. You have it. Don't waste it on something else. Waste it on TV or the internet or whatever, and then later on you can't complain that you didn't have time to do these things. Yes, you had time. You had the same time I have, the same time everybody else has. You have 24 hours in your life every day, just like everybody else. Choose to use them wisely. And in this case, choose to use them for doing something that will help you create a better time down the road. See, and this is that other part that's very hard for people who have cluster B. Anything in that area, usually there is a certain amount of problems with planning versus what I want now. In particular with BPD, there's this issue of not being able to think 20 steps down the road and go, what I do now will have all these effects. So let's do this differently. And that's what you want to do. You want to be able to pay attention to what you're doing. The mindfulness exercises work. It allows you to see and think. Now, thoughts are one of those things that you're going to have. They're like, salesmen knocking on the door. They're going to come no matter what. You can put up all the signs you want, it says no soliciting, and they're still going to come knock at the door. Being mindful of that, though, you don't just go run and open the door. You don't open the door and scream and holler because you're engaging the salesperson. Big mistake. You don't invite them in either. You just realize that it's there. And if you ignore it, they will get tired of knocking and they will move on. And thoughts that you don't like can be the same way. You have them. Don't engage them. Don't argue with them. Don't judge them. No. You're arguing with a salesperson. The salesperson will tell you, oh, I love it when they argue because at least it means they're talking. I got my foot in the door. So then once you have these things where you say something, do something, act in a certain way that's going to create, you can go, oh, is that the results I want? No. Well, then I guess I just won't do that. And then move on to something else. You will find that you are poking the bear less. You are starting fewer arguments because you're thinking and analyzing what it is you're doing before you do it. And that comes from mindfulness. And then you can choose to do other things instead. It will reduce. And if you're able to sit there and actually feel and do and then know it, and you think about what we talked about, and you go, okay, that's me being worried that she's going to leave me or he's going to do something, or I need to get mine in first before he gets his or she gets hers, then it'll allow you to think, well, no, that's not happened. And I don't need to push that. I don't need to make that happen. And then from there, you can actually start to calm down a little bit. Okay. So I hope you have a great Sunday. I hope you take care. I hope this kind of answered your question. If you have more, if you need more clarification, don't be afraid to get a hold of me, ask. I'm always trying to, put the information out that people ask for. You have a great day. Namaste.